you're struggling to come up with money to save, invest, or pay down debt at the end of a pay period, it may be because you're letting life dictate where your money goes instead of you telling it where to go. If you are new here, hello, my name is Rachel. I have, in the last 5 years, paid off over $140,000 worth of debt, mostly student loans, but also a handful of credit cards, a used car loan, some medical debt, all kinds of crap. And one key factor that has allowed me to do that is taking charge of my money and starting to pay myself first. I think we all know how it turns out when you wait till the end of a pay period to see if there's any money left over to save, invest, or pay down debt. That never goes well. And trust me when I say I've been there. I used to make a fraction of the money I do now, and I had so many more monthly bills. I was drowning in monthly debt payments, and I had about $200 to $300 a month to live on. And if you had asked me to set some aside to save or invest or even try to tackle debt at that point in time, it was not physically possible. So I understand every situation. So please know that before I get into this. So I'm going to keep this pretty simple today, just because finances do not have to be complicated. It does not have to be a really complicated process to get yourself into a better financial situation. It can start with very small steps. So that's what we're doing here today. I had been seeing the concept of pay yourself first on social media probably the last couple years. At first I didn't quite know what it meant, and then it clicked one day that that's what I do now. And so I'm just here to share how simple it can really be to start paying yourself first and start being more intentional with saving, investing, and paying down debt. So chances are when you see your paycheck, and either before it gets deposited or after, you do some quick mental math and you know, okay, I have to pay these bills out of this paycheck, and that leaves me roughly this much left to live on. That's pretty simple. Whether you have a budget or not, I'm pretty sure everyone makes that mental calculation in their mind when they see their paycheck. So that's essentially your take-home pay minus your bills is what's left for spending for the month, right? And now we all know that waiting until the end of the pay period to hope that you have some left over to save, invest, or pay down debt almost never happens. Never. So what I recommend instead is starting up front and setting up either an automatic transfer from your checking or wherever your paycheck is deposited into to a separate account. And I would set that up, if you can, to automatically transfer the day you get paid. Or even better, if your employer allows you, my employer right now allows me to have my paycheck distributed into as many different bank accounts as I want. So I get the bulk of it deposited into my checking account that I operate out of, but I also have an amount set aside to be directly deposited into my emergency fund savings account. And I also have another lump that goes right to my student loans and real estate savings account. So what is getting hit into my checking account to live off of already has my savings deducted right out of it. If your employer allows you to do that, I highly recommend that option, so that money is not even hitting your checking account and not even allowing you to be tempted by it whatsoever. It is fine if you want to wait until after you get paid and then you go in either that day or the next day and make that transfer right then. That I understand as well. It's just when you eliminate the temptation of not doing that, or oh, you forgot, or whatever it be, it's just so much more guaranteed to happen, right? When it's automatically done for you. So once you decide on an amount you can set aside, automate it. Again, whether it's $10, $20, whatever, start small if you have to. Make sure you're comfortable there, and then try cranking it up a notch later. 6 months in, you're like, hey, this is pretty good. Maybe I can go up to $50 a month or a pay period, whatever it be. There's going to be a mental shift that happens when you start building this habit, because saving money, setting aside money from every paycheck is a habit. It does build over time. But before you get to making it a habit, I know how miserable it can be to continuously try to cut expenses from your life, whether it's cut out monthly bills or cut out spending, cut out going out to eat, whatever. Focusing on kind of the negative aspects of trying to improve your finances by feeling like you're depriving yourself and limiting yourself as far as spending goes is not a great way to look at finances. It's not a happy way to look at them. Instead, if you focus your thinking to focus on that savings account that you're building, or the extra debt that you're paying down, or whatever it is that you're setting this extra money aside for, focus instead on building that. Maybe your investments are growing, or the amount that you're contributing to your investments is going up. Your savings is going up. Your debt pay down is increasing. That is such a better mental space to be in, because those are positive things. If you focus on the negative, you're not going to want to do it. If you stay focused on the positive, that keeps your motivation. It keeps you in a better mental space when it comes to finances. And I think that's a really important aspect of building a habit of setting money aside for a better financial future. So I said this was going to be basic, and that's as basic as it needs to be. Get organized and figure out a dollar amount that you can set aside for yourself. Again, even if it's $10, perfect. And then automate it. Take the hassle out of it. Take the temptation out of the bank account. Just automate it, and then focus on the positive. Stop dwelling on what you might be cutting out of your life and start focusing on a better financial future for yourself. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the same exact strategy I've been using for the last 5 years to pay off 6 figures of debt and save 5 figures of savings for student loans at this time. Growing my emergency fund, I'm growing some sinking funds, growing my investments, and it's all because I intentionally pay myself first from every paycheck. If you are more curious about my story and you might be new here, check this video out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.